What's up? Let's talk. Let's talk. We'll spend a little time on tonight just talking about a few things. Because it's cool when they do it, but it's a problem when I do it. Fuck them. Right? Yeah, we're going to talk about a few things. And I'm going to take my butt to sleep. While I'm doing some work here. What's going on, James? What's going on, Alpha Hoss? What's going on? Hey, Mike, what's going on, man? What's up? I got the lavalier mic. Can you all hear me clearly? You all can hear me. Good evening. What's going on? What's going on? You can hear me? Okay, good. God bless you tonight too. Yes. Yes, thank you. Yeah, it's all good. What's going on? Yeah, appreciate that. Yeah, I'm responding to I had spent a little time responding to a video. Video. You clear? Okay, okay. Yeah, it's late. I'm getting ready to go to sleep myself. Yeah, I didn't make a well, I did make a video a while ago. So how many of you all seen this video? Let me see. You probably can't see that. But this was on knockout lights. Knockout lights. Yeah, that's the video right there. How many of y'all remember that video? This was during COVID. I want to say it's about around 2020 when it was Jacob Blake and Jacob Blake, black man in Wisconsin, was shot, and he's still alive, but he was shot by a Wisconsin police officer, a white man. And I'm only mentioning race because those were the dynamics of that given situation. But he was shot by a white man, police officer, and I made this video that talked about how quick it was that you could be shot in the back. And I was demonstrating this, not trying to show off my skills or any of that stuff, but I was demonstrating it in front of my class, filled with black folks. Because it is the case, unfortunately, that education is not valued in our community like it needs to be. So I was demonstrating it, and I was showing how fast, trying to show them why compliance is necessary. In certain cases, I would argue in all cases, but in certain cases, it's especially necessary because of how fast you could be shot in the back, right? And I demonstrated that, and I was going fast. I was a little heavy set right there on there. I had lost some weight, stuff like that. But yeah, I demonstrated it. I was going fast, and it went so viral. It got the attention of Western Journal, right? Western Journal. Those of y'all know Western Journal, conservative platform, stuff like that. And what does it say? Firearms instructor shows just how dangerous a criminal can be with his back turned, right? It showed that. And people liked it, added some more to my virality, whatever the case may be. But here we are 5 years later, and Mr. Knockout Lights. I guess his name is Michael Levy Jr. or some shit. I don't fucking know. But he, yeah, you remember that video, William? And cops have a scary job. Why was he shot? Yeah, no. I'm not saying that the cop did a bad job. I actually did that video to prove that the cop did what was appropriate for that given situation. It was right for him to do that. And so Knockout Lights, you can follow him on Instagram. His name was Michael Levy. I know he's a firearms instructor. Whatever. Let's see. Message was held for review. Yeah, I don't know what that means. Okay, we'll hide that. Yeah. You said compliance, I feel, is put cops at ease, especially at night, and making sure your hands are always visible. Yeah, I agree. I agree. So he said this video, yeah, he's an instructor too. Yeah, this video pushes all of my buttons using subjective defensive tactics to justify a need when students lack the fundamental understanding of how to shoot their weapons effectively. Moreover, the demonstration is all ego driven at the student's expense. Time is the commodity in instruction. I demonstrate for my students, and if I screw up, I will not repeat unless there's training value in the mistake. Too often, instructors will fail and continue to run the same drill until they succeed because they don't want to look bad in front of their students. What is your thoughts on this demonstration, good or bad? And what constructive advice could you provide? No A zone was harmed in the making of this video. That was totally out of context of why I even did the video. I wasn't demonstrating that for them to do. I was showing that in the wake of what happened in that given situation. And he took it totally out of context. Maybe it's time for me to be canceled by the Second Amendment community. And you think about this, right? You think about this. Let's examine this statement. How many of you all have heard? Sound off in the comments. How many of you all have heard left you with a like, keep grinding? I appreciate that. How many of you all have heard? How many of you all appreciate the First Amendment to the United States Constitution? Right? How many of you all have heard the First Amendment to the United States Constitution? Right? Are any of you all a part of the First Amendment community? Is that such a community that exists? Okay, let's bypass that one. The Fourth Amendment. How many of you all have heard of the Fourth Amendment? Right? Are any of you all a part of the Fourth Amendment community? The Fourth Amendment community. Are any of y'all a part of that? What about the Fifth Amendment community? Are any of y'all a part of the Fifth Amendment community? No, you just plead the fifth, plead whatever the case may be. Does that make sense? Right? You plead those things, right? If you need them. You're not a part of a community. Just imagine being so insecure of something that you are entitled to because you're a citizen, where you have to create a community out of something that does not need to exist. That's why I'm an independent firearms instructor. I don't need to be a part of a Second Amendment community. You said that's a good point. Yes, think about it. We talk about we appreciate the First Amendment, and we do, but we don't call it a community. Just the First Amendment, you just free speech, right? Fourth Amendment, the right of the people to be secure in their persons, houses, papers, and effects against unreasonable searches and seizures shall not be violated, and no warrant shall issue but upon probable cause supported by oath or affirmation. You get what I'm saying, right? We don't call it the Fourth Amendment community. You just understand the Fourth Amendment. They need a warrant unless they have a warrantless exemption, right? Fifth Amendment, right? Among other things that the Fifth Amendment says, it's against self-incrimination. You just don't speak to the cops and ask for a lawyer. Does that make sense? Yeah. And so I'm just glad that I'm an independent member of this. I'm just an independent firearms instructor. I'm just glad because when they like you, they like you. But when they don't like you, they take your videos and take it so far out of context. You know, take it so far out of context. And then when I told him about what happened with the video, just imagine being a part of such a big group. You can't even admit when you were wrong. I just had to block somebody. So I'm just trying to have a fruitful discussion here. That's all. Just a fruitful discussion. Yeah, well, you're right, Kale. People do that when they don't know the whole story. And he watched the full video. He watched the full video, but he was like, he still was not wanting to retract what he said, which is fine. It's just funny that things like this happen. Yeah, it's just funny that things like this happen. So anyway, I just want to talk about that for a minute. I'm done with it. Gotta let that go. How are you all doing tonight? How's your night? How's your night? Because I'm going to go to sleep in a minute. It's fucking 2 hours past my bedtime. You said you saw that video earlier. It's good that I'm addressing it. Yeah, he thought I was teaching students. Thank you, Kale. I'm glad that you're alive and blessed tonight. He thought that I was teaching students how to do that. No. And that video happened 5 years ago. That was in 2020. I've definitely lost a lot of weight since then, still losing more weight. Right. And for him, just the caption, totally out of context. Totally out of context. Yeah, I'm going to keep on being positive. I'm going to keep on being positive. But it's just something. And then I said competition shooting was cosplay. And they got mad about that too. But I also remember Rob Pincus. I also remember Rob Pincus saying something about competition shooting too. That it's not like, I recognize the place that competition shooting has in the sport. The sport. Does that make sense? The sport. But if that's all you do is do USPSA matches, and you come across a real situation where it's spontaneous and you have to OODA loop it and shit, whatever the case may be, you know what I'm saying? Like if you don't have a healthy degree of self-defense training and then mix in that as well, and then there's a balance, like you don't understand how you're creating bad habits. It's just like, let me give you an example. And this is not really a competition shooting, but this is a training scar. It's just like Chicago police officer Ariana Preston, Black female, was about to graduate from Loyola with her Master of Science in Jurisprudence, assigned to the 5th District in Chicago. You get what I'm saying, Mike? Absolutely. And so she had just gotten off work, and she had just pulled up to where she lived. And she got out her car and she was walking towards her place, and 4 male blacks approached her with various firearms. I think a couple of them had switches or whatnot. But they were all armed, and they, were trying to carjack her. And she, being a Chicago police officer, you think about it. You all sign up in the comments. I kind of want your, opinions about this, right? Or your statements about, your response, right? When you get trained in the police academy, let's go. All right, ready on the right, ready on the left, the line is ready. Watch your lanes, right? Whatever your nomenclature is, right? Or ready on the right, ready on the left, threat, right? So here we go, right? You keep going, you keep going, you keep going, right? Every time, every stage, you keep shooting, right? Is that what you all understand the gist of this to be? Every stage, you're shooting. Every stage, you're shooting. Think about the habit. Every stage, you're drawing. Every mag change, rack, drawn, or mag change. Hit that slide lock release, drawn. Every time, drawn. Every time, drawn. Every time, drawn. How many times have you done this, right? And what are you training them for? When they see crime, situations of deadly threat, what are you doing? Pulling, 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 right? no matter what position, even if you're on the ground, even if you're on your side, if you're going from one hand, if you're going from your other hand, it's just constant pulling. When do you train them for the need to pause? Does that make sense? When do you train them for the need to pause? Right? You're a Chicago police officer, and as a part of city ordinance, you're required to live in the city of Chicago, right? Chicago is a very much segregated city, right? 77 neighborhoods. You can definitely tell who lives where, and there are cop communities. But most black folks, or at least half of them, don't live in cop communities. Where do they live? The black community, right? So wouldn't you think it would make sense to make that type of training a part of the academy training? Hey, look, this is the shit that we teaching you on the job. Off the job, you might have to move a little different. Off the job, if you outnumbered, hey, that star ain't gonna save you. That star is not gonna save you. Does that make sense? Hey, when you that star is not gonna, don't you pull that gun. What you do on the job, that's that police shit. When you off the job, don't you pull that gun like that. When it's four of them, you better recognize, you better wait. If they take your star, if they take your gun, hey, it's up and stuck. That's what it is. Now, Alpha Hoss, you said common sense is key. But if you look at the definition of common sense is defined as good sense and sound judgment in practical matters. Practical is defined as other concerning with the actual doing of things rather than just theories or ideas. So if you haven't practiced it under the influence of stress, it's just common knowledge. And then we can even debate that. Is that commonly known? Now, here we go. See, this is what police officers do when they come in the community. That officer was deleted by a bum rapper, brother. SMFH. RIP, beautiful soul. See, here we go. There we go. You see what I'm saying? Just, that's not the point. That's not the point. That's not the point. The point is how the academy could set you up for failure. That's the point. How the academy can set you up for failure. And it's like some of the cops are not doormats to absorb the crazy. I don't know what that is. Y'all get what I'm saying, right? It's all this when it actually might be a time. Hey, all right, man, you got me. You got me. What you know what I'm saying? And that mindset from the academy is what got her to see crime. I had to block somebody. To see crime absolutely, Alpha. Living and working in the hood, especially Chicago, etc. Just give it up. It's always another day, like you said. Just wait your turn to the right moment to act. That's all I'm saying, right? And that's all I'm saying. There's a difference between that training that they teach you for the academy and then what you do in the real world. And it's like if you don't teach people that difference, they're gonna go out there with the, oh my God, carjackers. Here's my time. What do? Pull that firearm, and what happened? Because she reached, they shot her, and she died. The academy training is what set her up for failure. That's what set her up for failure. And that's what I'm talking about, right? That's what I'm talking about. And it's like, yeah, I'm still instructing on the range, yeah. And it's just like, let me be bold enough to say it. The police officers, they don't like the fact that I said it, but it's real. It needed to be said. The Chicago firefighter who was retired, who died on 118th and Western, coming out of the popcorn shop, who was getting robbed for his Dodge SRT. When the carjackers got out of that car, what did he do? He transitioned the popcorn from his right hand over to his left hand, got behind his wheel well, got his revolver, pop, shot, two ran. Two ran southbound on Western, passing 118th, and one ran in a southwesterly direction in a diagonal towards an awaiting car. What did the retired fighter do? He ran around his wheel well and started chasing that guy. That guy fired a lucky shot over his shoulder, and it hit the firefighter center mass in the chest, and he lost his life. If you got a position of strength behind that wheel well, hold it. You see what I'm saying? But when you haven't been trained for those things, you do brave stuff and you end up losing your life. Let me ask you all something. You see how this is why I am so glad that I'm a divergent, unorthodox thinker as it relates to firearms. I'm not special. I'm not special. I'm average, right? I'm not special. But I like being divergent. In our society and education, we make neurodivergence a bad thing. When if you look at the definition of divergent, it just means outside the box thinker, unorthodox, right? Convergence is when you're only trying to, out of many things, just do one way because that's the right way. Got it. I'm a divergent thinker. So have you ever thought, remember the NRAs refused to be a victim, labeling their program, right? Come on, sign off in the comments, guys. I want to have a real conversation with those who are thinkers. See, that's why I'm a part of the intellectual community of thinkers, those who carry firearms for their self-protection, but you're still a thinker. You know what I'm saying? Remember that NRA refused to be a thinker? Yeah, think about it. Neuro means neurological, of or relating to the brain, right? And then divergent, divergence is the same thing. You're thinking outside of the box. If you look up the word divergent, right, it just means you're outside of the box thinker. You don't rush to pick the first thing. You take your time, slow it down. You process it your time, your pace, your race, your speed. That's what divergence is. And in the public schools, divergence gets mocked. It gets made fun of. Does that make sense? But divergence is a superpower. Yes. So here we go. When you think about it, that NRA program refused to be a victim. When you got that mindset where you refuse to be a victim, let me ask you a question. Can that make you fight in a situation where you probably should be a victim of the robbery, but you're not a victim of the homicide? Just think about it for a minute. Set aside your value judgment of the thing and look at the situation, right? If you're always going with this mindset, I refuse to be a victim, and then you carry that into every situation, can you then decide, I'm going to pull this firearm because I refuse to be a victim, when this is the type of situation where you should actually play possum? You should actually play the weak because you're outnumbered. Does that make sense? And see, we gotta be we gotta be okay. If I'm sorry, here we go. Go on ahead. Bam, there we go. Yeah, Instructor Shonda. The things that make you go, That's why I love being a outside of the box thinker. I like being a divergent thinker. I like analyzing the curriculum that instructors have been taught to teach, and ask yourself, am I reteaching a mindset to my students that cause them to put themselves in dumb situations with their firearm, when in fact Hey, you got me. I'm outnumbered. Let me just, hey, you got it. Take it. But you're not going to take my gun. Hey, I'm not about to fight for that either. Because the minute I reach for it, I know what's up. You got me. You got me. I'm not NRA certified. I was at one point, right? I'm not even USCC. Look, no, I got my certifications from law enforcement. Thank you, Dale. I appreciate that. I got my certifications from law enforcement as a law enforcement firearms instructor, right? So I'm neither. Ta, psh. And that's one of the best things that I can say that I appreciate about being a law enforcement firearms instructor certified by the state is that you weren't given a curriculum. You had to write your curriculum. And then you had to allow for addendums and subtractions from that curriculum, giving the variances of what your officers are likely to get into. You weren't given a curriculum. You had to write your own. You had to write your own. Yes, Alpha Hoss, your brain and your mouth are the best tools. If used proficiently, you live to live another day. Yes. Does that make sense? And that's what I'm talking about. Outside of the box thinkers. I don't want to be a part of the Second Amendment community because that's inside the box. I don't want that. I don't want that. No other amendment to the United States Constitution has a community. You just got it because you're a citizen. So imagine being so insecure about them coming to take your guns and shit that you have to form a community around something that you have an entitlement to. You'll say that you don't like the licensing scheme because you don't need it, because you have an inalienable right to it, but you created a community, which is an identity. You created an identity. Isn't that a level of psychological insecurity? I don't want to identify as a member of the Second Amendment community. I'm just a guy who just wants to teach a few people who actually happen to teach thousands of people how to basically use the gun. And here's this. They don't remember how to use that shit. They don't train enough. So whatever. But they got an introduction. That's all I tell them. That's all this is, the introduction. My teacher how to be John Wick. I ain't teaching none of that special shit. Cause the whole time you ain't ready for it. Does that make sense? Yeah. Yeah. The ability to see the world differently can foster deep insights. Absolutely. Well, I miss you too, Angela. You said protectiveness of others is something I see strongly with divergence, particularly in artistic or highly sensitive individuals. Yeah. And some people who are called autistic are not. Some people who are said to have ADHD don't. Thinking quickly on your feet in the face of danger takes practice. Anxiety can be paralyzing. Absolutely. 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 So I just wanted to spend some time with y'all to address that video. That's all. And do I identify as black? No, I don't. Race is a social construct. I identify as brown. That's the color of my skin. I identify as American. That's the country I live in. I identify politically as a independent. Depending on the issue would depend on whether I support conservative values on that or liberal values on that. But do I identify as black? No. I do not want to be a part of that BS social construct. Now, Black history, beautiful. Oh my God, Jesus Christ. Black culture, fuck no. Absolutely not. And it's a social construct. You do understand that social constructs are not facts. You do understand that social constructs are not facts. Yes, Confidence Reloaded, Instructor Shonda. Yes, giving you some things to think about. The whole 2A community verbiage. Yes, you think about it. I'm going to give you the framing. I'm an Adlerian, right? What does that mean? I subscribe to Alfred Adler, individual psychology, right? You said, is the color of my skin is, no, the color of my skin is just, it's an objective fact. What color is your skin? It's an objective fact. What color your skin is. That's not a social construct. That's a biological fact. You can see that. Yeah, you can see that. Yeah. My skin color is a shade of brown. Yeah. And yours is too, probably. You see what I'm saying? So I'm an Adlerian, Alfred Adler, individual psychology, right? Critical thinker for sure. Here we go. Adlerian, therapeutic. Therapy just describes something that is done to change undesirable behavior, right? So what I teach is therapeutic to those who understand, who have a brain, who think. Prefrontal cortex still works, right? Epistemological. What does that mean? Epistemology, the study of knowledge and knowing, metacognition, right? Here we go. Autodidactic, 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 D-I-D-A-D-D-A-T-I-C, autodidactic, right? What does that mean? I'm a self-learner. I'm a self-learner, right? Autodidactic, right? Reggio Emilia Montessori. Reggio Emilia, 100 languages. Just look it up. Laurice Malaguzzi. Reggio Emilia. It's her early childhood perspective. 100, just look up the poem, 100 languages. It'll open up your mind. Dr. Maria Montessori, come on. What the hand does, the mind remembers, right? From an early childhood perspective, right? That's who an educator. I am all of those things, right? And as all of those things, right? I go far beyond. Yeah, I got you, Christy. Give me 1 minute. I go because Lucretia is amazing. I go far beyond just teaching how to do the pew pew. I teach people about the science of behavior, the science of adverse childhood experiences, a variety of different things from a philosophical, therapeutic perspective, so they can understand the behavior, so they can see the conflict in cultures and way before, way before, way before you even get into the situation where there's a likelihood for conflict. This is chess, not checkers. You got some people in the Second Amendment community, they can't wait to use their firearm. Ooh, they can't wait. Oh, ooh. And what do they say? Certain statements like, fuck around and find out. I wish a motherfucker would until motherfucker do. And you got to ask yourself this. I hope you're still here, Shonda. You got to ask yourself this. Do you want to be a part of that community? You go and take these classes, right, with other people. You go and take these classes with other people. And what are they doing? You're taking classes and everybody got their 511 gear and their loadout and all that other stuff and the rifles and this and that. And you don't even carry that every day. You great with a rifle on that course, but you shitty with a pistol. You got a red dot on your firearm. You ain't going to have a chance to use it in a situation where you're not paying attention. You're not going to have a chance to use it in a situation where you're not paying attention. If the slide in the firearm is an extension of your finger, you have not been looking through an optic for how many years of your life? You ain't going to do it. CPPP. CPPP. You're simply going to see, pull, point, press. That's all you're going to do. You're not going to even come close to thinking about looking through that hole at that red dot. That's not, you're not, you're not primed for that. Well, I do it in my USPSA matches. Yeah, you mean in the stages that you get to see before you actually do them? You mean in this, you get to see your stages. So what are you doing? I'm a force science analyst, right? What are you doing? You're priming your brain, right? There's a psychological phenomenon called experiential blindness. If you get to see your stages and you get to plan them out, guess what? You're not. You're no longer experientially blind to this. It's not a new phenomena. Your mind has developed a schema about how you're going to do it. So now it's easy to plan how you're going to negotiate it. It's like you know you're about to hit the compound in Abbottabad, Pakistan, and you know exactly where Bin Laden is. Not just in that compound, but you know exactly the room. Not a surprise. You know exactly where everybody's going to be, except no plan survives first contact. But the thing is, with those guys who are special operators and stuff, I'm getting ready to go to sleep myself too. With the guys who are special operators and stuff, you're not by yourself, you're with a team. So you got backup with you on that mission. As a civilian concealed carrier, you don't have backup. You don't have backup. You don't have backup. You're by yourself. And is the situation that you're in worth dying over? The answer is no. I see what you said. I know. No, none of this stuff is worth losing your life over. Look, I'm going to end with this. I'm going to read your comments too. I'm going to end with this. Carry your firearm because you want to protect yourself in places where you can protect yourself. Get you maybe about 2 or 3 firearms. Keep them well oiled. Keep them well cleaned. Get your practice in. Find the holster that works for you, for your body type, and the different types of places you carry, different places you go to. Does that make sense? And then go about your life. Live your life. Maybe practice every 2 weeks, right? Or maybe a month, whatever. Keep your skills sharp and fresh in as much as you can. But live life for you. Live life for you. Because the Second Amendment community is a very toxic community. It is so toxic of a community, it had to take an inalienable right that you have simply by being a citizen. And they are so insecure that the guns are going to be taken away that they decided to make an inalienable right a community. Think about that. No other amendment has a community. No other community. No other amendment has a community except the Second Amendment. That's just how insecure they are. You can still support the Second Amendment and not be a part of the community. Because when you're a part of this community, you got to conform. You got to converge. When you're not a part of that community, you're more free to think about unorthodox ways to defend yourself. Yeah. Oh man, come do our shooting competition. Resist the urge. The shit's not real. It's cosplay. That shit don't play well in the streets. You try that 2-shot string stuff. And I'm not the only person who said something about it, right? There was another Green Beret. I forgot his name. He critiqued it. He was watching a John Wick thing and he was critiquing it. It's on his YouTube page. And it's on my YouTube page too. He was critiquing it. He was like, yeah, he went to Terran Tactical and, you know, he could really, really shoot. But the problem is he moves so quickly through his shot scenes. You don't get a chance to really verify that the threat is down before you move over to the next. And he was moving so fast. He was moving so fast. Why? Because he went to Terran Tactical. and because he's shooting in a movie. So he knows these are not real threats. These are play threats. You know what I'm saying? No, the shit don't play that well in the streets. But whatever. Tell them go work in a jail and prison and see if a weapon will save them. Ops is there. No weapons behind that wall, just brains and brawn. Facts. Facts, Alpha Hoss. Facts. And a percentage of these cops would be nothing without that gun. A percentage of them would be nothing without that gun. I respect the Cook County Sheriff. Let me tell you, of the law enforcement officers, and I'm going to tell you why, Shonda. I'm going to tell you why. Here we go. And I'm going to give you the science behind it. Okay. I'm not just going to give you my opinion. I'm going to give you something to think about, right? Of the type of law enforcement officers in this area that I like, I value the Cook County Sheriff's Police. You got Chicago Police, you got Cook County Sheriffs, you got Cook County Sheriff's Police, and then you got Illinois State Police. I love the state police, but I value the Cook County Sheriff's Police. Why? I value the Cook County Sheriff's Police because before you can become a police officer on the streets, one, you got to work the jails. You got to work the jails. You have to work Cook County. Have to. You don't get to bypass that. In fact, I don't think they hired for court services in a long time. So you got to work the jails. So you got to go to the academy, then you got to work the jails. Then, if you get selected, test and get selected, right? Then you got to go back to the police academy again for the Cook County Sheriff's Police. Now, the Cook County Sheriff's Police, they got HBT, which is their SWAT team. They got everything Chicago's got. But you know what's one thing they don't have? They don't have a lot of instances of shooting somebody. Why? Because in the jails, you don't have a gun. Don't get me wrong, you carry one outside. You're a deputy. But in the jails, you don't have that. You just got your backup, if you got that. You got your relationships with the inmates. You got your people skills. You got your brains. And you'll still get beat the fuck up in county. But if you can survive that, the streets ain't shit. Because you know people. Well, they don't patrol Chicago. They're out there patrolling Chicago right now. I know plenty of people who used to be and are still on Cook County Sheriff's Police. Plenty. And they don't get into the bullshit Chicago to get into. Well, they don't answer the calls. No, they got better training than y'all. Cook County Sheriff's Police is twice trained, 3 times, 4 times trained than y'all. They got better training. Better training. Illinois State Police, better training than Chicago. Way better. They put y'all through that academy and spit you out. Now, let me get to your question, Shonda, about USCCA and competition shooting. So here we go. I like to do demonstrations, right? So here we go. Let me find something else. Shit, where we at? Okay, so I ran a half marathon, so I'm going to put this up, right? Here we go. So, ready, stand by, threat, pop, pop. So let's just say you got this card and this card. Pop, 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 right? If you're shooting at a real human being, real human being, what do you expect these things to actually do after you shot them, if it worked? Do you expect them to stay up, or do you expect some physical change? Alpha Hoss, you're correct. First of all, they're not static. They're moving. They're moving. That's one. Right? They're moving. So you got to factor that in. But after you hit, pop, 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 pop. Notice in all the competition shootings, you're only hitting one target twice. unless it's like steel or the Texas Star or whatever's. But each of these targets, you're only hitting twice. So guess what that's creating in your mind, right? In your mind, guess what that's creating? Shot strings. Twice. Pop, 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 pop. Stages you already know how to run. You see what I'm saying? That's one. Two, the targets haven't fallen. They haven't fallen to the way. There's no physical change of this thing to send to the brain that what you did worked. So what do? After they shoot, pop, 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 pop. You're right. There we go, Instructor Shonda. It may take more than 2 shots to stop a threat. Yes, you getting it now, right? But as a civilian, no other training, that's the only thing you're getting. And you're doing it every week, all the time, various cities, various states, over and over, over and over, over and over, over and. Do you think the brain knows the difference between real and fake? No, it's you're building a habit of doing things. You're putting that in your brain. Our bodies and brains are like computers. What you put into it is what you're likely to get out. It's a stress response. Pop, 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 pop. And then what do? You walk down, or someone walks down, and they begin to count not only how many times you hit, but where you hit. That's not a real thing in real life. You don't shoot the bad guy. Pop, 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 pop. And you walk over. Got a few shots in the A zone and one in the ocular cavity. We got him. We got him. You don't do that. Detectives do it, right? They get to see the holes in where they went. Medical examiners do it during autopsy. I've been in those rooms too, right? ER doctors and nurses, and even your patient care techs, they get to see it because they're all in the room during the medical intervention attempts. They get to see where the bullet holes went. Even security, I was off duty working at a very popular trauma hospital during one of the worst summers in Chicago. We get to see it. We get to see it because we're in the room watching the doctors do their thing. And the shots aren't always center of mass in the A zone. In the A zone. See, that's what competition shooters, they love the A zone. They love the A zone. But if you've ever been to the morgue multiple times, like I have, the shots hit where they hit. And apparently it worked. Why? They're here in the morgue. They're at that place, right? The shots hit where they hit. Shot doesn't mean hit doesn't mean down doesn't mean gone. There have been people who have been shot in places where they should not have passed, and they did. There have been people who have been shot in places where they should have passed and did not. Thousands get shot yearly in Chicago. Hundreds get shot and have passed. But there's one constant in competition shooting. Pop, 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 pop. Every shot, pop, pop, just twice. Boy, I don't want that cosplay bullshit. Do you get what I'm saying, Shonda? I don't want that cosplay stuff. No, that's not real. And people be like, oh, you never went out there and did it. Let me show you that video. I got the fucking video right here. You ain't never did no competition shooting. Well, I got the fucking video right here. What are you talking about? Let me find that video. We'll say talk amongst yourselves. Don't mind me, I'm stupid. I will show you. I got that video of when I used to go up to Eagle and I used to do those competition shootings, stuff like that. And I started doing it and I had to stop. I had to stop. Why did I have to stop? I had to stop because I recognized that I was about to develop a training scar. I'm trying to find it. I was about to develop a training scar and I had to stop. I had to because I was like, this shit ain't real. This shit is not real. In fact, this is one of the videos I did. Let me see if this pulls up. Yeah, this is one of the videos I did. Look, do you see how those targets are falling? Do you see that? Now, I got criticized for that. I got criticized for that. I'm going to show it to you again. I got criticized for that. You see how that's a system that I created where I cut the sticks in half, not in half, but the top is 3 inches, the bottom is 2, and I put it on a hinge. I created that system. Why? You won't see that in USPSA. You won't see that in USPSA. I created the targets where at least they fall. So it sends a signal to your brain to stop shooting. Here we go. You see that? And then I even got up close on this one. Let me see it. Now, what is that doing? If most armed encounters are 2 to 5 yards, 6 to 15 feet, you can't do that on a USPSA shoot. You can't do that. Why? They got steel targets on some of those things. That bullet will ricochet right back on you. So how practical is it if it's not putting you in uncomfortable situations where you have to turn around and shoot quickly? That's what you're likely to get into. That's what you're likely to get into. Not ready, stand by, threat, and then all of a sudden you're going around shooting at these targets that do not fall. You see what I'm saying? And I'm not saying it's the best. I'm saying it's better than targets that are not doing anything at all. I just like thinking outside the box, doing unorthodox stuff, not doing the same old, ready, stand by, and then you're shooting at targets that are not falling. I just don't like that. Yes, thank you. You get it, Anna. Yes, conditioning and the ability to recognize the pause. Yes, that's all it is. That's all that I am doing. And people had so much of a problem with that to the point where they're like, oh, man, you see what I'm saying? When you're a divergent thinker, right? When you are a divergent thinker and you are thinking outside of the box. See, I think, isn't this that video? Let me see. Let me show it.
To cool time. All right.
See, watch.
This is the Burke drill. At 10 yards from cover, engage. 3-shot center mass, 2 headshots. Move to your next piece of cover, engage 3 center mass, 2 headshots.
And none of these targets gonna fall. Sure. Watch.
Yep. Stand by.
So let me ask you that. Is that real? None of those targets fail. Do you see what I'm saying, Shonda? Is that real? None of those targets fail. None of those targets fail. Let me find the video with the United States Secret Service, because the United States Secret Service even started to put in drills, and they started to create targets that actually fall because even they recognize the value of targets that actually fall. Even they started to recognize that. So at best, you get it. Come on, Shonda. At best, you're learning cover. At best, you're learning moving to cover. That's all that you're doing in those drills. None of that stuff is practical. The target is not falling. And if I'm supposed to be so dumb, which I'm willing to say I'm dumb, okay, that's fine. I could be dumb. I'm willing to say that. I'm willing to say that. Right? I'm so dumb. Why haven't you all created a better system with all those brains over there? That's all that I'm saying. I'm trying to find this video because even the Secret Service, let me see if I could just look up Secret Service. Sorry about that. I didn't have these videos uploaded already. No, that's not it. Trying to find it. Yes, and there's another video. I ain't gonna even play that. But that's another video I showed trying to critique him. Like, look, bro, the targets are not falling. The targets are not falling. And if the targets for me are not falling, it has no real training value. I'm sorry. I don't care. I mean, because here we go. Where did I even get that idea in the military? When I first got in the military and we did BRM week, what happened? The targets fell. Fast 50, 100. Yeah, I got you, Instructor Shonda. You could even reach out to me. I got no problem having a conversation with you. Trust me, it ain't nothing to have a conversation with you because that's how iron sharpens iron. Does that make sense? Right? You said, would you do regular lives? I'm enjoying this wealth of knowledge and information, especially as an instructor that's just under 2 years in the game. I've been shooting for over 10 years, but shooting and training are two different things. I knew nothing. Yes, come on, I got you. You could talk to me. You could talk to me. You could talk to me because being an instructor in this game, see, I've been blessed with having a platform, but like I just released a video for people who joined my page, you know, and it's in my members section. I just released that video. When I started going viral, how many of y'all been following me like since kind of like the beginning, if you still watching this? How many of y'all been following me since the beginning, right? Remember when I didn't have that many followers and when I started making some of my videos and how the controversialness of the video, you see what I'm saying, kind of made the following shoot up. So on Facebook, not on Facebook, I have 67,000 followers and that's on one page. On Instructor Mike on Facebook is 22,000. Security Training Concepts, 22,000. That's my business. Then on TikTok, I have 2 million. Then on YouTube, I have 1.9, 1.19, right, million. Stuff like that. So altogether, it's about a little over 3 million people if all, across all my platforms. You see what I'm saying? And the thing is, I let it go to my head just a little bit, but I always remember the lesson I learned as a young boy when I was a musician. I'm still a musician. I play bass, stuff like that. Yeah, that's Wrigley Field behind me. Yeah, an oil painting of it. You said I just started following you. Is your name on the other platforms? Yeah, it's Instructor Mike. Yeah, on TikTok, 2 million. Yeah, you can go see. You know what I'm saying? But I recognized a long time ago not to let any of these social media platforms cause me to get the big head. Just stay average. Just stay average. Stay humble. Because when any community likes you, oh yeah, you're welcome into the club. But when they don't like you, they will try to cancel you. Like, what do you think happened to Kanye? Right? What do you think happened to who else? Ice Cube, right? NBA versus Big Ten. What do you think happened to? It's so many. We could just And it's not just the gun industry, it's so many other different industries. You know, be careful about who you call yourself associate. Will Smith, be careful who you call yourself associating with. Be careful who you call yourself associating with. Because when they like you, you cool. But the minute you decide to think outside of the box as a divergent thinker, Christy, yeah, she said, I don't think you've ever changed. I feel like you've always been the same, in my opinion. You seem to always have been the same, Mike. To me, yeah, you're right, Christy. I don't change that much. We change a few things, but I don't change that much. You know, the minute they like you in the cool kids club. But the minute you think outside the box, now we know how to control you. I got time for that shit. I was trying to find that other video with the Secret Service, but maybe I ain't able to find it. Yeah. So, is that what you can do for me, us today mentally? If you go against their program, you are deemed a threat. Yes. Yep. 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 That's what it is. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yep. That's it. Yep. That's it. I appreciate that, Miss Diamond. And I think you asked me about a class too. Yeah, just if you hit the link in the bio, I do have classes. I've even downgraded the size of my classes. I'm downgrading it, and I'm probably gonna do a little bit of some with the price. I'm ready to book appointments with people who are ready to learn individually. I used to do a lot of classes. Hey, if you want that basic shit, go to somebody else. I'm ready to teach people some other stuff. Am I on Instagram? Yeah, but I'm not really on Instagram like that. I am, but I'm not. So you could it's yes, Mike said it. So if you go there, because at least on Instagram you can inbox me. You can't inbox me on YouTube. You can't inbox me on YouTube. So at least you can go to Instagram. Yes, Mike said it, and then you can inbox me directly, and we could chat there. Um, yeah. You say you don't have the other, so that's fine. You can inbox me there. You can't inbox me on YouTube. Like, you know, it would be nice if they had inboxing, but you can't. So, yeah, it's time to go to sleep. You see my face. Y'all see my face. The fucking shit just got tired. And then I do so much other than here's this. You looking, shut up. Here we go. Yeah, people get on here and say some weird shit. And I almost read it too. Mac JCB. Shut up. Um, but I'm gonna try to kicking my shoes out the way. Um, what the fuck was I about to say? I do more than just that. You said how much for a one-on-one? Misfit 138, inbox me. Go to, I want to give out my number, but um you can inbox me and then I'll give you the price for a one-on-one. Because I just want to make my prices scheduled around what a person can pay. Nah, I don't want them kind of admirers. Hell no, Shonda. I don't want them kind of admirers. I don't want them kind of admirers. Yeah, I don't want them kind. Tim Can. Oh, you see Tim Cannon? Look at Tim's comment in the. You got a pretty mouth. Well, thank you. Leviticus 4:13. That was bad. All right, I'm gonna go to sleep. I gotta get up and want to teach a class. This is getting weird. Yeah. No, I read your comment, Chrissy. All right, this is Confidence Reloaded. Go on over to Instagram. Yes, Mike said it. Inbox me and then we can have a chat. And I could definitely talk to you about a lot of things for sure. Hope to love. Yeah, no, I'm recharged. I'm recharged. I'm recharged. I'm definitely recharged. I got you, Miss Diamond. Yeah, I'm definitely recharged. A guy could take you. Oh, a guy you could take home to your mama. Fair enough. All right, y'all have a good night. I'll talk to you all.